Today we're talking about a popular Undertale YouTuber who wasn't satisfied with the genocide route within the game. So they opted to go for the Diddy route instead. That's right. We're talking about one of the most popular Undertale / Deltarune YouTubers who literally got a 250-page document dropped against them with over 20 victims that came forward with their own testimonies against this YouTuber creep. Don't get it twisted. We're not talking about a random Me Too statement where he said this, she said this, just for people to later find out that the person accused was innocent all along. Let's be real, guys. When you get a lengthy document with statements coming from over 20 victims, many of them being Clash Royale minors, by the way, don't get it twisted. I don't even think this document classifies as a Me Too statement at this point. Bruh, this is an us too statement with actual receipts, which is the most important part. In fact, the evidence was so overwhelming that the Undertale creep YouTuber eventually came forward and admitted to everything to one of the victims. I mean, if you look at the left side of my screen, I'm pretty sure those are the names or usernames of the actual victims recounting their personal horrible and disgusting experiences with this Shayy YouTuber creep. I mean, are they all the names of the victims? Because I'm seeing CI over here, which is an acronym for nut eating instructions. Replace the nut with the C word. Oh yeah, okay, so it is all the names of the actual victims. Okay, don't ask me how I know about the CI acronym. I mean, to be fair, initially, I thought that CI was like one of the allegations, which would have been horrible. But how did this all begin? How did YouTuber Shayy manage to take advantage, exploit, and break the trust of more than a dozen impressionable teenagers? Let me be clear. We're dealing with a classic case of an antisocial, mentally ill freak who was most likely the reject at their school and, through sheer luck, managed to grow an audience on YouTube by capitalizing off the hype of Undertale. One of the most genre-defining games, and I'd personally argue it was the game that popularized the appeal of indie games and show the people that smaller budget games can be infinitely better than AAA big studio slop. But when Undertale released, it exploded in popularity and garnered mass appeal from the youth, namely kids and impressionable teenagers. In fact, to this very day, a huge chunk on the Undertale fandom is still composed of Clash Royale minors. Now, with your critical thinking skills, you can probably see where I'm going with this. This is where YouTuber Shayy enters the picture.
But I mean, what if we just got really lucky?
Through sheer luck, YouTuber Shayy was able to garner more than 470,000 subscribers by capitalizing off the popularity of Undertale. Now, you might be wondering, why am I doing the Aishless pet face right now? Well, just wait a few more seconds because you're about to do the Aishless pet face as well. But essentially, Shayy hit the jackpot. Not in the sense that they made a lot of money from the hundreds of thousands of subscribers that they garnered, but in the sense that they attracted a lot of kids, of impressionable Clash Royale minors to their channel. And as we're gonna see very soon as we explore the Us 2 document, the attention from Clash Royale minors was way more valuable to Shayy than any amount of money in the world. Now, the video that would kickstart Shayy's YouTube career would be one that you would upload in 2021 titled Undertale Speedrun, but I have Dream Luck. But the reason as to why I bring this video up is because not only is this literally the first video of shit that would literally go viral in 2021 and kickstart his YouTube career, but if you go to the actual video itself and you go to the 30-second mark, you're gonna see some crazy amount of foreshadowing.
Prior to him publicly admitting that this was the case, there had been a great deal of drama and controversy surrounding the issue, since there was no definitive.
So, not only do we literally have shit literally discuss the controversy surrounding Dream at the time, but you're gonna see this number 262 on the B-shot of one of Dream's video, I'm assuming. But that number 262 is literally the same amount of pages the Me Too statement against him is. You can't make this up, bro. This is some Vince Gilligan amount of foreshadowing right there. I mean, you know what they say, reality is sometimes more surprising than even fiction. But to give you an idea as to how cooked this YouTuber is, here's a community post from them from 3 weeks ago where they're celebrating a subscriber milestone. So let's read it. Hold on, I'm trying to do the PDF file, the groomer PDF file voice. Well, the alleged PDF file voice, so...
We just hit 470,000 subscribers. Thank you all so much. 500,000 subscribers doesn't seem so distant now. 500,000. I never could have dreamed of this.
Now, this is where you're gonna want to hold your Aishless pet face, but if we scroll up, you're gonna notice that there's approximately 110k subscribers missing from that milestone. So either my man's Shayy is bad with numbers or something happened for those 110k subscribers to dip. Well, as we can clearly see, something definitely happened. Now, if you'll remember, I did call Shayy a mentally ill freak earlier, but I do want to clarify that statement and reassure you that I wasn't just insulting Shayy there. No, I was also saying the cold hard truth. Because here's an excerpt from the Us 2 document regarding Shayy, where one of the many victims of his, who decided to stay anonymous for understandable reasons, decided to come forward to recount their personal experiences where they saw Shayy firsthand in real life acting like a degenerate freak. Now, I will be paraphrasing a lot here because I personally don't believe in just making a video where 90% of the time is spent me reading this whole document, right? Like that's, well, I'm gonna be honest here, but I genuinely feel like most people who click on this video who want to know more about the situation, they don't want to fucking read a 260-page document. But don't worry, because I did. And my goal here is to provide a digestible version of all the allegations and to hopefully show you that, in my honest opinion, Shayy is a clear danger to Clash Royale minors and should be put behind bars. Before we discuss the creepy allegations that this anonymous victim has brought forward against Shayy, let me give some context as to who this anonymous person is in the first place. So, back in 2020, they were just a 17-year-old person who just loved Undertale, and not only Undertale, but also Shayy's content about Undertale. In fact, they would describe themselves as a fangirl of Shayy's, which is actually a huge mistake that I see a lot of Clash Royale minors make. I mean, if you're a minor watching this video, here's a little advice that's gonna decrease your chances of being by at least 100%. Never, ever idolize or look up to any YouTuber, any streamer, any influencer or celebrities because, well, I'm gonna say something that's the equivalent of saying that Santa Claus doesn't exist, but what you see on camera is not reality, okay? Because 90% of streamers, YouTubers, celebrities, well, they're mentally ill and they're either narcissistic pieces of crap like Jack Doherty or Hassan, who literally went full electro wizard on his dog but still has an audience somehow. Or they're out there selling a persona that's not a reflection of who they are in reality. I mean, take Dr. Chris Respect, for example. Remember when everyone thought that he was just a chill guy who was just showing up in Mr. B's videos and minding his own business, just for him to later get exposed for literally sending sus pictures on Discord to Clash Royale minors. And not only that, but he also got exposed for literally busting a peanut to pictures of 13 enemy characters. So like I said, bro, never look up to any YouTubers, streamers, or you're setting yourself up for disappointment. I mean, the same goes for me as well. I mean, I know I give off huge Giga Chad, huge, wholesome, handsome, I've got 50 girlfriends, I clap your mother's energy, but... Okay, that last part is true, but anyway, what I was saying is that you don't know how I am in real life. I mean, for all you know, when I turn off the camera, I'm probably gonna go watch a 4K 60 FPS sus animation of 2B. You don't know that. You don't want to know that. But being a huge fangirl of Shayy's, they eventually decided to join Shayy's Discord server. Now, the 17-year-old fan actually loves to draw, so they decided to draw some fan art and send it to Shayy's Discord server, which actually prompted Shayy himself to personally DM them to compliment their fan arts. But that is when things started to get creepy, because even though the fan had made it very clear that they were 17, that didn't stop Shayy from talking about sus topics in the DMs. These DMs range from random memes to ranting about stupid people on Twitter, but for some reason, they often had something to do with sus topics. Shayy's conversations that led to sus topics often were sparked by something completely innocent, such as March 26th, they DM'd me about sussy hypnosis. And when I didn't understand what they were saying, they proceeded to explain the joke. Okay, that's Shayy talking now, so let me get my alleged PDF file voice ready.
I just make the assumption everyone's a degen. I found out through a YouTube video that some people have a food dish for something called
sissy hypnosis. I don't even know what the fuck that is. And I don't want to know either. Yo, smash like and subscribe if you also don't want to know whatever the fuck that is. Bruh, something called sissy hypnosis.
and I think it's hilarious.
No, it's not hilarious. It's mental illness. Bruv, I don't need to know what sissy hypnosis is to know that it's something that only people with a mental debuff in the head are into. Yo, I'm gonna be honest, even though I have no idea what sissy hypnosis is, I'll tell you something I know. I know for a fact that someone in their mid-20s should not be discussing whatever the sus, weird kink that is with a 17-year-old Clash Royale minor. But don't worry, because it gets even better. These deranged and creepy conversations that Shayy kept initiating with this Clash Royale minor, like the sussy baka hypnosis shit, that unfortunately wouldn't be the only instance of Shayy acting like a total creep that this anonymous person would witness. Now, Shayy and the 17-year-old kept texting one another and grew closer as time went on. Now, I already know some of you guys are gonna be like, what? Why didn't the 17-year-old just cut contact with Shayy? I mean, after seeing those sussy hypnosis creepy texts. Well, that's, of course, like in hindsight, sure, you're right, but we have to understand and put ourselves in the 17-year-old's shoes for a second and understand that as an impressionable teenager who's finally texting their favorite YouTuber ever. Like, wow, there's no way my favorite YouTuber would turn out to be a pedophile or a creep. That would age poorly, of course, but we have to understand that this is how happens, right? Like, a lot of teenagers, a lot of kids, they think that what's happening with an adult that's interacting with them is normal, when in reality, it's not normal at all. So I believe it's understandable to see why this Clash Royale didn't cut contact immediately with Shayy after that sussy hypnosis BS. But 2 years later, the anonymous person now over 18 and Shayy decide to meet up in real life and go to a speedrunning GDQ convention. But they got together with 3 other people, one of them being a 16-year-old kid. Now they all decided to stay at a hotel together. But what happened there personally convinced me that Shayy is not like us. Because one day, while they were staying together, they all decided to go to the hotel hot tub. And when they came back, just like any normal human beings do, they decided to change out of their swimsuits one by one in the bathroom. Except for Shayy, who thought it would be an amazing idea to change in the living room. And yup, as you can probably guess, everybody, including the iPhone 16 kid, had the privilege of seeing this weirdo's butt crack. The anonymous person even drew a diagram to depict what happened, and I do want to make it clear, but when Shayy decided to change in the living room, the bathroom was actually empty. But instead of changing there like a normal human being, they decided to change in the living room. Would a normal, well-adjusted adult in their mid-20s do that? No, of course not. You want to know who would change in the living room knowing that there's a 16-year-old kid living with them? A potential diddler. A mentally ill freak to be exact, who's got no filter around Clash Royale minors, and who most definitely enjoys acting sus around teenagers. But when the whole squad called this creep out and told him, "Yo bro, we did not sign up for this Shayy freak-off over here. Like, why are you showing us your hairy butt crack? We didn't want to see that, especially not this iPhone 16 kid who's with us." You want to know what this weirdo did? Well, he obviously didn't apologize. Shayy, instead of apologizing for changing in front of everyone, claimed it was everyone else's fault for turning around when they said not to. Because that's right, guys, Shayy did say, "Don't look," while changing in the living room. Now, I don't know about you guys, but if the special kid goes in the back of the class and tries to take a fat dookie and then screams out of nowhere, "Don't look, guys," what do you think's gonna happen? Well, obviously everyone's gonna look, and they're gonna see the special kid take a shit. And everyone's gonna be traumatized. And then the kid hopefully is gonna get expelled, get put on a list, and hopefully get deported to the nearest mental institution. Bruv, if someone says, "Don't look," out of nowhere, obviously everyone's gonna look. If you really didn't want people to look, you would have changed in the empty bathroom, away from the iPhone 16. But this pattern of never taking responsibility, of always acting like a professional victim, from what I've seen, it's a set of behavior that would happen to many of the victims whenever Shayy would get caught doing something deranged. For example, 3 years later, the anonymous person decided to give their favorite YouTuber a third chance. And they decided to meet up once more in real life to go to the 2025 GDQ convention. Now, I'm gonna be honest here, but for me, personally, I don't care who you is. You can be my best friend, but if you show me your hairy booty cheeks without my consent, we're not friends no more. Smash like and subscribe if you agree. So just like before, they were staying at a hotel, but this time with different people. But this following incident would only involve the anonymous person and Shayy. Shayy and I were laying in a spare bed next to each other. I was doom scrolling on TikTok while Shayy started to inch closer to me. I inched away, wanting my personal space. I was rarely okay with platonic cuddles, and especially so as I had a partner at this point. Shayy continued to move closer and closer anytime I moved further. Trying to stay calm and keep my composure, and while nearly falling off the bed, I turned my back to Shayy. As a sort of non-verbal, "Bro, I want my space." I didn't want to speak up and cause a scene. Turning my back to them was instead seen as an invitation of some sort, because Shayy then curled up behind me, spooning me. To make this even worse, I could feel their mini pekka on my leg. Yeah, like I said earlier, guys, I wasn't kidding one bit when I said that this mentally ill freak is a danger to society, and he needs to be locked up. Throw the key inside of my cheeks or something, bruh. Don't let him out. I think we've come to a point where we can all agree that this Shayy degenerate not only exudes strong diddler energy, I mean, with the way he texts Clash Royale minors and the way he conducts himself around Clash Royale minors, but I think it's quite clear now that it's not only the kids who aren't safe around him, bro. Nobody is safe around this freak, because he's going after everybody without their consent. When the anonymous victim called Shayy out, this is what happened. After a minute or two, I got my bearings and got up and decided I had no choice but to make a scene, loudly asserting I wanted personal space. Shayy was confused. They saw nothing wrong with what was happening. I immediately felt that it was my fault that this happened to me. Now that's the classic diddler guilt-tripping strat, guys. Don't get it twisted. Shayy knew what they were doing, 1,000,000%, okay? They weren't confused. That's the classic guilt-tripping manipulation tactic. You see it all the time with narcissistic sociopaths. Now the reason as to why I'm saying that this Shayy creep is a narcissistic scumbag is because of an earlier incident that happened in the first GDQ meeting where the living room incident happened with Shayy being naked and all. When buying a room at the hotel, we had agreed that we would be buying a room with 2 queen beds, Shayy and Star sharing one and Pleb and I sharing the other. Shayy changed these arrangements right before buying the room. They didn't say anything about it until after they bought the room. Instead of having 2 beds, they bought a room with a single king-size bed for them and Star. saying Pleb and I could share the pull-out couch. But don't worry guys, because when the anonymous victim asked if they could at least rotate beds, or at the very least sleep on the king-size bed whenever Shayy would go outside with Star, they were told no. I mean, if cucking your two supposed friends out of their own bed and making them sleep on that scuffed couch just to be able to sleep on a king-size bed and then refusing to let them sleep when you're not even there, if that doesn't scream narcissistic piece of crap, I don't know what does. Now you might be wondering, why did I spend so much time on one testimony out of 20 instead of coming up with a 30-second ChatGPT summary for every single one of those testimonies? Well, I sincerely believe that every single one of those statements are equally important, and they all equally do a great job at showcasing Shayy's true character, which is the complete opposite of his fake perceived wholesome persona that he would show online to his impressionable fans who would buy into it.
Do you know, I have been mortified of the day I would be trending on Twitter. Fucking terrified of that. Thinking like, oh god, somebody's written up some fucking fake-ass Google Doc on me to try to get me canceled or whatever.
You just know at that point, even that fell abortion knew that it was only a matter of time before you would get exposed. I mean, when you've got more than 20 victims, it's only a matter of time before someone talks. And thankfully, everyone did. And now, Shayy's audience full of high schoolers that Shayy loves very much so, by the way. And with everything that we know now, that's, definitely not creepy. Nah, as a matter of fact, this is a creepy tweet no matter what. Even if he never got exposed for being a diddler mentally ill freak. I mean, look at this.
My audience has a large amount of high schoolers, and I can confirm this is accurate, and I love them, and wouldn't have it any other way.
Like, what? Yo, this is just weird. My bad, but I'm just gonna say it. If your favorite YouTuber tweets something like this, just know that their chances of turning out to be a diddler are automatically increased by at least 500%. But in case any of you still has your doubts about whether or not Shayy is an actual monster, let's go to another victim statement. But this time, we have actual receipts. Chat logs. Now, this is a victim by the name of Ray who had the misfortune of seeing Shayy's degeneracy in action. This time, I'm just gonna let the receipts do the talking.
Isn't life so much better when I choose your pronouns and gender? Your pronouns are mine.
What? I hope you don't mind. I added it's to my pronouns last night.
Go ahead and change your pronouns too. After all, it's better if I'm in control of that, right? What are you waiting for? Change your
What the fuck? What kind of is that? Yo, I've heard about drinking your girlfriend's forbidden apple juice. I've heard of eating your girlfriend's chocolate ice cream. But this? All of this? This is illness. I'm gonna be honest. You just know this Shayy guy is gooning to Dragon Age Velguard.
Actually, Tosh uses them for themselves now.
They asked us to let folks know, so now you do.
Like, tell me this is not mental illness. Yo, if you're one of Shayy's parents watching this video right now, and you're worried about your son going homeless because of how clearly his YouTube career is over, hey, don't worry, bruh. Because if you send this screenshot to the nearest government office in your city, I guarantee you your son's gonna be eligible for some free disability check. After reading these cursed DMs, I'm actually scared to search whether or not this Shayy freak has pronouns. Because, I'm not gonna lie, but I don't want to help him goon. After reading this, it feels like he's got something sus going on with pronouns. I'm just gonna hope that his pronouns are he, him, and I'm gonna plead ignorance. I'm sure the LGBTQ+ community will understand where I'm coming from here. I'm not helping this free goon. But now I think it's extremely important to talk about Shayy's perceived character.
Shayy was definitely like one of the most well-known people in the community for Undertale and Deltarune content, especially since they interacted with the community a lot.
Shayy meant a lot to me as a person, and I'm not saying this to justify their actions. They're a fucking monster.
I hope you get the help you need and that you're alright, but I never want to hear or see you ever again.
I want to make sure there's no misunderstanding here. We're not talking about a random nobody YouTuber who just got exposed for being a diddler here, because, let's be honest, but they're a dime a dozen, fortunately, nowadays. But no, we're talking about arguably the #1 Undertale YouTuber, about the face of Undertale. Think Laserbeam or Nikki of Fortnite. As we just saw with the 3 clips that I played, Shayy was honestly beloved by pretty much everyone. And I do want to make it clear before I get canceled for something I didn't do. No, I didn't just say the N-word out of nowhere. I am like, Nikki is literally a Fortnite YouTuber, okay? Like, I just had to make it clear because I saw some YouTubers in the past getting canceled for literally saying the name of that YouTuber, and I don't want that to happen to me. I would never say the N-word. on camera. But the reason as to why Shayy was beloved by everyone is because not only was his stream a safe space, cozy, chill place for Undertale enjoyers to hang out in, and not only was he entertaining as a streamer, but he also came off to people as a wholesome, accepting person who also loved to do moral grandstanding. That's right, Shayy would partake in multiple cancel campaigns against YouTubers that he deemed to be creeps. For example, there's this YouTuber Merg who was on the receiving end of an attack, of a cancel attempt, and Shayy was one of the people who tried to cancel him because he was playing a mod for Undertale, where the protagonist of Undertale was now an adult. And when Merg uploaded his video about the mod, he had the audacity of harding comments of people saying that the adult version of the main character of Undertale was hot, which prompted Shayy to be like, look, Merg, he's a creep who loves children.
Let me summarize the drama for you. I played an Undertale fan game. It was about an AU where one of the many changes was Kara being replaced by their adult version. When I uploaded the video, there were some comments making jokes about the design. That's it. So as you may have guessed, one of the people who got involved was Shayy.
Who would have thought that the person moral grandstanding, the person fueling hate campaigns, cancel campaigns against YouTubers that he deemed to be creeps, would turn out to be the creep? But I guess the moral of the story is, never change in the living room. Smash like and subscribe if you would never take the Diddy grave route.
Money, 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 money.